lads, ladies, gents, ladetts, whoever, whatever, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about the mascot that Capcom forgot, Megaman. Although a series I've always enjoyed over the years, I've never found myself to be a die-hard fan of the original run, at least not fully. I always enjoyed Mega Man X and the Battle Network series more so than the original, and hopefully I will get around to making videos on them in the future. For now though, I want to talk about the original core series and not the spin-offs. Consisting of 11 main releases, Mega Man has been a mainstay of gaming since 1987. If you include spin-offs and collections, the series as a whole has over 30 games, including the original run of Mega Man. Mega Man, known as Rockman in Japan, was developed and published by Capcom and released in mid-December of 1987. Releasing for the original Nintendo Entertainment System, Mega Man released in a year filled with some absolute classics, putting it in the era of games that helped save the gaming industry from complete collapse that was on the verge of happening back in the 80s. With the first half dozen of the games releasing in the 8-bit era, mechanically they weren't the most complex games. And considering what controller we had to use at the time, it makes sense. For some of you, you might know the Wii remote is a deadly weapon, but for us, the original NES controller, that shit would make your hands bleed. It would humble everybody who had ever even thought about touching a controller. This means Mega Man had to get pretty creative with what it could do to stand out. Being part of the action platformer genre, it didn't really want to be another Contra or Mario. It had to do something different. Instead of being like most action platformers and going for a purely side-scrolling approach to level design, Mega Man went for well-crafted single rooms that would also have a fair bit of verticality. In most cases, the first few screens will be super simple and straightforward just to give you the idea of what you're going to expect. But like any good game, the Mega Man games actually get more difficult the further you go, which is a good test of your skills that you should have learned up to this point. However, if you're like me, you're going to be shit at it and die a lot, so thank God for the Mega Man collection having the rewind button. The Mega Man game can be broken down into two key categories, and that is its platforming and its combat. The combat isn't the most complex thing you'll ever play in the world, as I mentioned before. However, it does get a bit better as the series progresses. They're all functionally the same between each game as they tend to be running guns, but you will unlock some abilities that make things a little bit better. Starting off, Mega Man will only have access to the Mega Buster, shooting basically as fast as you can mash the button. By the time you get to Mega Man 4, you'll get access to the charge shot, allowing you to hold down your button for a more powerful single shot. As you continue to progress throughout the games, you'll also unlock the abilities of the Robot Masters you beat, which is a great system for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the way the game is designed means you can tackle these Robot Masters in any order you see fit, allowing you to go at your own pace. And secondly, and more importantly, each Robot Master has a weakness. So if you're paying attention, you'll be able to defeat them quicker if you use the right weapon. This rewards the player for paying attention. Some abilities you'll get will have more use than just combat. As an example, in Mega Man 1, Gutsman's ability to pick up and destroy boulders and big blocks allows you to traverse previously blocked areas, giving the player a reason to go back and explore, instead of just being a one and done. Furthermore, the game also has a point system, so if you're an arcade child, seeing those points pile up might make you crave a little bit more. It's not all rainbows and sunshine, however, as there is one major problem with the combat, and that's the fact Mega Man can't shoot up. Sure, there are certain abilities that allow him to hit things above himself, however, you don't really want to use all your energy, so it means you have to ignore certain enemies and they can just get away with hitting you over and over again. There are also certain enemies that do just have really annoying patterns. Now that's more of a skill issue, to be fair, I don't really put that on the game, but man, they really shit me. The platforming, however, is where Mega Man starts to shine. Its platforming is second to none, especially for an NES era game. From the very first game, the controls were super tight and responsive, and they only got better as time went on. Now, platforming itself isn't something that I would say is the most enjoyable thing in the world in every game ever. However, in Mega Man, it is actually a lot of fun, and that's because we get a lot of variety instead of just being a bog standard platformer. We don't just have to jump over pits or spikes, we actually get disappearing platforms all the way back in 1987, having to time our jumps, making the game a little more interactive. It actually makes the game more engaging. To add to this, we also get branching paths. Now, they're not the most in-depth branching paths you'll ever get, but they do give the player options, and the more options you have, the better. Now let's get into the biggest separating factor of this series from pretty much everything else, and that is its story and lore, because my god is there a lot. I'm going to do my best to summarize without spoiling too much, but do understand obviously there's going to be spoilers. But if you're upset about spoilers for a 40-year-old game, kiss my ass. Although not expanded super well upon during the game itself, the game's manual, the ancient relic that it is, that many a gamer used to read in the car ride home as a kid or as an adult, or while taking a shit instead of reading the shampoo bottles because God forbid we do anything else, would be our only way to get insight into the lore of Mega Man. In the distant future of 20XX, Dr. Light has created robots to work the dangerous industrial jobs. However, the robots one day seemingly lose control, attacking everyone. Among the robots that attacked, there were 6 6 robot masters, thus setting up the bosses for the first game. Dr. Light figures there was someone behind these attacks, so he figured out it had to be his old rival, Dr. Wily. Without any idea of what to do, Dr. Light's assistant, Rockman, asked to be turned into a combat robot and renamed himself to Megaman. Setting off to stop Dr. Wily from taking over, Megaman has to beat the 6 robot masters along with the robots made by Dr. Wily, as well as Dr. Wily himself, giving us pretty much everything we need to know. As the series progresses, Wily is still the main bad guy. Like Sonic with Eggman and Mario with Bowser, we know what to expect whenever we play a game, whether it's 1 through 11. It's not to say this is a bad thing, however, as personally I actually really like Dr. Wily's character and all the different ways he tries to cause trouble and escape at the end of every game. Now, I can understand for a modern gamer this might seem a little cliche and a little silly to do. However, you have to understand this was the game, or at least one of the games, that started this cliche in the first place. It wasn't cliche back then. It gave you a reason to buy the next game, because let's be real, functionally they're all pretty much the same. What's the point of getting 1 over 2, or 3 over 5, or 6 over 4? Sure, there might be some slight gameplay differences, but at the end of the day, they all function the same when it comes to the core gameplay loop, which is why having Wily escape at the end of every game is something you should consider a pretty decent idea. Had to hit all those nerds with the 8-bit sequel bait. And if I haven't told you on the series yet, you should listen to its soundtrack, because holy shit is it incredible. It is easily one of, if not arguably the best series soundtrack for the NES Super Nintendo era of gaming. And if I had to pick a personal favorite out of the 11 games, I have to go with Mega Man 2, because the intro opening theme is just incredible. All things considered though, Mega Man has unfortunately been rather dormant from our screens for the last 20 years. It's not to say he hasn't popped up in things or been around due to collections and remakes, remasters, things of that nature, but for the most part we've only had 3 mainline releases, because during his peak popularity between 1987 to 1997 we had 8 releases, whereas over the next 20 years we only had 3, being Mega Man 9, 10 and 11. And I fear Capcom has forgotten about him yet again, waiting for that day for him to just come out of retirement. I know the plots and things of the original games don't really carry across to the modern gamer all too well, but the gameplay from those games is still second to none. They hold up. He still stands strong amongst all of his contemporaries. Please, Capcom, give us another Mega Man. So with that, lads, ladies, gents, ladetts, whoever, whatever, it brings us to the end of another video. I'd like to thank you for watching this, and if you have any stories about Mega Man, or if you have a favorite Mega Man out of all of them, or just a favorite soundtrack, or just anything Mega Man related you want to talk about, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. If you want to go the extra step, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to go that extra mile, please consider supporting me on Ko-fi for just $1 a month, like these lovely people here. And with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye.